for New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and LA, obviously those are always going to have the worst traffic. But what have gotten the worst? Alright guys, so I want to do a little bit different video today. This is towns with the worst traffic, but not necessarily the absolute worst traffic, but what I've noticed getting a lot worse over the past 10 years or so. So obviously the big four, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and LA, obviously those are always going to have the worst traffic. But what have gotten the worst over the past few years, so obviously the ones with a lot of California transplants are the worst because, well, the population has grown a lot more than they had the infrastructure for than they would expect. So number one is Austin. Thank you, Joe Rogan. I'm just playing with you, but everybody's moving to Austin. The traffic didn't used to be horrible when I first started driving. It was pretty bad, but it's just atrocious now. The traffic's horrible. Coming up with the Texas theme, we also have Dallas. Same story basically. Bunch of with a lot of California transplants. Probably the number 3 city, obviously Miami. That whole area, Fort Lauderdale, that whole megalopolis right there. That little thing between like Boca Raton and Miami is just absolutely horrible, especially during rush hour, because it's just like Austin, you have to go through it, whereas other big cities, most of the time you can go around it, blah blah blah. But yeah, Miami, that whole area is just horrible. And one city that didn't used to have any issues when I first started going through is Las Vegas, but lately it's been just horrible lately because they're doing a lot of construction, they're changing it up. But like I said, the population is just getting crazy. The population growth is just insane. Keeping up with that California transplant theme, Nashville. Yet another, conservative city, conservative state, relatively speaking. Like most of these, aside from Las Vegas. Nashville, now it's not too bad during the day, but at rush hour it gets pretty bad, and it's just been getting worse, especially if there's a Titans game. I don't know why, because of the stadium's so close to the interstate or what, but it's horrible. They gotta clean up the parking downtown. Next couple are, actually all the rest are not conservative cities, so haven't been getting a lot of California transplants into these, but these have just been getting worse over the years, probably due to, I don't know, a tech boom or whatever you want to call it. Seattle. Now, I used to go to Seattle all the time, but what I'd do is I'd get in the middle of the night and I'd leave out in the middle of the day. Not horrible, but lately I've been noticing every time I go through there at rush hour, absolutely insane. And speaking of Seattle, it's sister city in my opinion. Oh, can't use binary language with this city. Portland, Oregon. Absolutely horrible traffic, man. And just a horrible place to be. Speaking of that, Washington, D.C., a horrible, very horrible place to be. The traffic is insane. They got construction everywhere, and people drive just crazy. They'll pass by you just to cut you off, to slow down, and that's one thing that really causes the traffic to be bad. Plus, it seems like everybody... It seems like it's around the clock because everybody, has nighttime shifts or whatever, and that really makes it a lot worse. Speaking of that, Atlanta, it's always been bad, I get it, but it just seems to have been getting worse. It's the next Hollywood, basically. And Boston, it's just always been bad. It always will be bad. There's nothing you could do about it. The Big Dig did not help. And it's just a horrible place for traffic. I guess that's one. Those last couple are ones that have always been bad because, like I said, not a lot of California transplants. But yeah, I've noticed them getting worse over the years. And those are the cities that you not necessarily would think would have horrible traffic. You'd expect them to have traffic, but they're a lot worse than you'd expect, especially the past couple years in my